Welcome back. Mozambique's highest court has confirmed the victory of the ruling Frelimo party in the October election, but the outcome has sparked a widespread protest by opposition groups who say that the votes were rigged. At least 110 people have lost their lives in the ongoing post-election protest in the country. The Constitutional Council has the final say over the electoral process, and its ruling has sparked a further protest in Mozambique. For more on this, we are now joined by the mayor of Quelimane city in Mozambique, Manuel de Araujo. Mayor, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. How would you describe the situation in your city and the surrounding provinces as well, following the announcement by the Constitutional Council confirming that it is Frelimo that won the elections?
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me here today on a Christmas Day. So, Merry Christmas to you and also to your listeners. Well, the situation is quite volatile, not only in my city, but in the whole country, because minutes after the proclamation and announcement of the results, youngsters just rushed into the streets, first of all in Maputo city, blocking literally all the streets and putting Maputo at standstill. Actually, I have some friends yesterday who had to fly around 4 o'clock out of Maputo International Airport, and they were told that they could only reach the airport if they left their hotels around 2 until 5 o'clock a.m. in the morning. So they had to rush to the airport with their families at between 2 and 3 a.m. in order to catch flights that were leaving Maputo in the afternoon. And actually, most of international flights were cancelled, and only the Mozambican airline was flying in or out. And even from the airport, you could see, and I think that I shared some of the pictures, smoke all over Maputo city. Of smokes made of burning tires, burning Frelimo offices, because the youngsters were burning Frelimo offices. And there are non-confirmed reports that even one of the houses of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Veronica Macamo, and even one of the houses of the president, who is the chair of the Constitutional Court, was also banned. I mean, as I'm saying, those two are yet unconfirmed information, but all over the country, including in the city of Beira, which is the second biggest city in Mozambique, the city was at a standstill with, for example, more than 8 trucks belonging to the current Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, Mr. Mesquita family company, were burned. Several offices and even some residential houses, not only in Beira, but also in Nampula. So far, it looks like Nampula is the province which had most deaths. I think it has been reported, but though non-confirmed by independent sources, that more than 15 people were shot dead. And also there is some news coming out that the police shot dead about 20 people in Maputo in the area of Chamankulu. But as I said, those are information that are flying out. It's important for us to be cautious that they are not yet officially confirmed. But that's what I can share. Here in Zambezia, I just received the information that at Zalala Beach, which is a resort 40 kilometers from Quelimane, which is the place where the Frelimo party rushed to looking for more comfort because they feel that Quelimane city is too hot for them. So yes, last night there were like reports of unsettling situation there with mobs of youngsters following these people. And also I was told that a tea factory in Zambezia province at the district of Ile, at the region called Sokone, was also banned. So the situation is evolving, and I mean, I will keep you updated if I get.
Yeah,
that's what I can share as it is now.
And on the statistics that you shared with us of the reported deaths that you say that still needs confirmation, the 15 in Nampula, and then you also spoke about, I think, the 20 others that were shot dead allegedly by the police. According to those reports that you've received, are these incidents that happened immediately after the Constitutional Council's pronouncement, or are they incidents that have happened over the past few days, even before the announcement of the Constitutional Council?
Actually, I was forgetting that also here in Quelimane, we have reports of 2 deaths shot by the police. So the numbers I'm reporting now are numbers since the announcement of the presidential, legislative, and provincial assembly results. So since the day before yesterday, it's literally a 48 hours report.
Yeah. So we are going to speak about the politics around the pronouncement of the Constitutional Council, but I first want to deal with this. As mayor of Quelimane, what does this mean for stability in the city, considering that you're also now speaking about the 2 deaths that have occurred? And are you seeing the possibility of the situation escalating?
Well, definitely, yes. We are doing all the best and all in our power. We even issued some video and some letters calling for people not to destroy the infrastructure. You know, it took me 14 years as a mayor to put Quelimane City where it is. I understand their concerns, which are also my concern. And actually, I'm one of the leading politicians in the country contesting these results. But the difference is between myself and others, I think we need to put it very clear, is that we are together in this march for the truth and for elections to be declared free, fair, and transparent and credible. But we differ in the methods. I don't think that destroying infrastructure will lead us anywhere, and that we will push it. Actually, I think that we should follow the methods of Reverend Martin Luther King, Pacific demonstrations, the methods of the Indian who grew up in Durban, okay, the Nehrus, the Gandhis, and so on. I think we must protest, but we should not destroy infrastructure. And I think that as we move into the weekend, things will be escalating. Yes.
Yeah. What then do you make of a former colleague of yours, actually, with regards to the call that he has made, Mondlane, around the destruction of infrastructure and also bringing the country to a standstill? Have you had an opportunity at all to put through a call to him to say that perhaps maybe this is not the route to follow?
Oh yes, I mean we speak quite often, and we communicate, and I let him know. And also last week he made a call, and I've got a video. If you need, I can share to you. He made a call in the same direction. So I don't think that we have got a different stance as I speak now. We both agree that we should not destroy infrastructure, because even like if we win, we will need this infrastructure to provide people with better means of sustaining their own incomes and also their own lives. So I don't think that there is, as we speak now, any politician in Mozambique who is in favor of destroying infrastructure.
So then who's behind what we are seeing? Who is pushing for the violent protest that we are seeing to such a point where you have trucks being, processing of trucks being suspended? Yeah?
People don't need somebody to be behind them, because they saw what happened and they are taking the responses in their own hands. I don't think that right now there is somebody behind the people or pushing or advising people to destroy property. There was a time where it seems to be that, but I think that may have been a misread of the words at the time. But now I think that in the leadership, there is a consensus, which is a result of consultations and also of a lot of talk.
Yeah, the leader of Frelimo has called for residents and the population of Mozambique to mobilize and, quote, save democracy. What does save democracy look like, and how do you do it when the highest court in the land has already proclaimed on the election results?
Well, he's the leader of my party, but I don't agree with his strategy, because if we wanted the two make a demonstration, it should have been before the ruling of the Constitutional Court, in order to make sure to them that they were taking a decision which was against the will of the people. My question now is, now that the law, the Mozambican law, the Mozambican constitution states clearly that the Constitutional Council is the last institution to pronounce and to make a verdict about the elections. So the question now comes, if we demonstrate now, what are we waiting? What are we expecting? Probably a political settlement. But I think that it's too late now to come into the streets.
Yeah. What does that political settlement look like? South Africa, Pretoria, has also expressed its concern, but they've called for dialogue and have said that they are willing to mediate in that particular dialogue. Do you think that South Africa is the right mediator for the unrest that we are seeing in Mozambique?
Well, I'm very happy that finally President Cyril Ramaphosa understood the extent of the crisis in Mozambique. As you know, I spent the last month in South Africa. I was in Johannesburg, I was in Pretoria, I went to Durban during the meeting of the MK when they were celebrating their first anniversary. I went to Cape Town, tried to reach out members of the GA, of EAFF, and other members of the business community, civil society, in order to make them aware of the impact of what was going in Mozambique. I remember the first statement of Minister Lamola was like, no, we are not the big brothers, we cannot get involved, and so on. But finally, I'm very happy with the Minister Lamola and President Cyril Ramaphosa. I think that they've awakened up to the reality, because if we don't have peace in Mozambique, what is going to happen to the South African economy will be very dire. As you know, the Maputo port is the most important port to South Africa. It's the closest port to Johannesburg. The minerals from the Johannesburg area and so on are exported, and the inputs to work on those mines come through the Maputo port. So if the Maputo port is closed, if the border is closed, the same to Zimbabwe, if the Beira port is closed and the Nacala port is closed, the economy of SADC will collapse, literally. Mozambique is a very important strategic partner. Therefore, it's important that I wish that SADC missed. It's a big opportunity. I wish that SADC had taken a proactive. But I'm very happy with President Ramaphosa's stand and with the Minister Lomola, because the only country that can really has got the power, has got the capacity to influence the happenings in Mozambique, to me, is South Africa. To me, South Africa is our big brother, and as a big brother, South Africa has got a responsibility. Second, don't forget that Mozambican civil war, of course, started because of the monoparty system that was implemented after independence, but the war reached the point because South African regime at the time supported the civil war in Mozambique. So Mozambique fought and Mozambique suffered to free South Africa. Now is the time and responsibility for South Africa to pay back by helping Mozambique stand as a peaceful and as a democratic country.
And Mayor, here's the point. You stress this issue about within your own political party, Renamo, there is a different approach or different takes on what the approach should be. But if you speak about a political solution being the only way out of what we are currently seeing, what does that political outcome look like?
Well, before the Constitutional Court, what I had expected was the President of the Republic, the 4 candidates, to come together and come up with a political settlement. President used to try that, but the problem was that the Attorney General had issued a judicial mandate against one of the presidential candidates, Mr. Venancio Mondlane. Therefore, when President Newsom met with the other 3 contenders, President Osuf Momado of Renamo, President Lutero Simango of Movement for Democracy in Mozambique, and Chapo, who is the candidate for Frelimo, when they met to try to reach that settlement, the other 2, Mr. Lutero and Mr. Osuf Momad, they said they could not continue with the meeting without Venancio Mondlane. So what was expected was the Attorney General to suspend the judicial mandate as to allow Venancio Mondlane to come back to Mozambique. But Frelimo party is divided right now. We have got a group which is commanded by President Joaquin Chissano within Frelimo. There is another group commanded by former President Armando Emilio Guebuza. There is a team commanded by Graça Machel, who was your first lady and who was also our first lady. We have a group commanded by the former general who started the war for liberation, General Chipande. And also there is another group which is commanded by President News. So there are more than 6 groups. So they don't understand each other. They are fighting over the spoils of power. So it was not possible for President News to push this agenda, because some in Frelimo say, look, we won and we are going to run, even if it's by using force, even if we have to impose the will of the constitutional court by using the army or the police. So there is an extremist group within Frelimo that don't care about what other people are saying. So
Mayor, unfortunately, we've run out of time. My apologies, but I hope that we'll be able to pick up the conversation maybe later in the week as well, and just to get an update around what the situation is like in Mozambique, and also back to that point around the political solution that you speak of, or what that looks like. And let's see what South Africa's intervention in that standoff in Mozambique will result in. That is the Quelimane City Mayor in Mozambique, Manuel de Araujo. So more stories and more news and more views.